of service.
Righteous chalice to illuminate the world's retreat. In our search for truth, may we be just. In our search for justice, may we be loving. And in loving, may we find peace.
Opening words back to Jobe. Opening words come from a motivational speaker and a writer named Simon Sinek. And it's not cynic as in being cynical, it's S-I-N-E-K. He writes, authenticity is more than speaking. Authenticity is also about doing. Every decision we make says something about who we are.
Musical reflections. Thank you. Before Pat starts, I just want to remind everybody to please turn off your devices so we don't have any interruptions while Pat is giving you all words of reflection. That's it.
Let's breathe together. Remembering that we all breathe the same air. There are even folks who believe that our heartbeats are connected to the one heart. Breathe, breathe, breathe. This congregation is gold. We are not precious treasure because we are perfect. We are precious treasure because we embrace what good we can find in each other and accept that there might be some not so good in the mix. And Eddie, I was not thinking of you when I wrote that.
Yes, you were. Oh, yes, you were.
Connie Lyon, who we lost just a few months ago, had us in her will. And we received a check today for $3,400. And I know that Connie had dreamed of building us a building, but $3,400 won't quite do it. But I'm sure the board will be discussing tomorrow when we meet of how to best invest that money. Jim Price always wants to know what's going on in Forest City, and I got a very beautiful thank you note from someone who was helped by our congregation in Forest City. There are no words that can properly express my gratitude for the help you provided me with my utilities. I am humbled and grateful, and I can't thank you enough. That's the kind of stuff we do all the time in Forest City. I want you to imagine for a moment that you're standing in line at the grocery store, and there are 2 or 3 people in front of you. Their carts are pretty full. You can tell it's going to take a while to get to the cash register. And you notice there's a nice looking person standing behind you. And so you think to yourself, I've got a few minutes. I could just speak to this person, say hello, make eye contact, smile. Maybe the person would seem open to my saying, let me tell you about the congregation that I gather with on Sunday morning. See, you already got it. That was a joke. I know you're never going to do that. I don't care how many people are standing in line in front of you. I don't care how loaded up their carts are. You're never going to talk to a stranger about us. I've done this particular illustration to a number of UU congregations, and your laughter was the best response I've gotten so far. But all of them made it really clear to me. No, we're not going to talk to strangers.
Do you know where we live?
But they're out there, Tim. They're out there. Kamala Harris almost carried North Carolina. We'd have gotten just a few thousand more in Rutherford County, but never mind. How do we see with fresh eyes? How do we consider new kinds of behavior? How do we do things differently? As UUs, as liberals, as people who think differently than the other people we live next door to. I've got these little flyers about Friday Action Hour. If you've never been to Friday Action Hour, 11 o'clock on Friday morning, and would be willing to maybe go, can I give you one of these? Boy, that was an incredible response. Thank you, Sam. Bless your heart. Cat wants one. Rihanna wants one. Okay, we're rock and rolling now.
It's on the web.
Say again.
It's on the web. They don't have to go there.
You don't have to go there, you just have to go to their computer, right? It's on the web. Or their telephone. If they've got a smartphone, they can go on. Oh, look, more hands. This is fabulous. Friday Action Hour is about 10 or 15 congregations in the state who meet via Zoom and consider political action. And that's what I want to talk about today, is political action. And doing things differently. Oh, Lisa, bless your little heart. George, you're going to heaven, I can guarantee you.
Right here, Pat.
Okay. There are a few more left, which you can get from me after the service. What a guy, Jim Arnold. Friday Action Hour was part of over 100 organizations in North Carolina last year who organized to push the General Assembly to extend Medicaid benefits to 600,000 people. 600,000 people in North Carolina who were poor folks, but not yet poor enough to qualify for Medicaid. But under the Affordable Care Act, there was an extension of Medicaid that was available to states that voted to do it. It only took North Carolina 15 years, but we did it. We extended those benefits. We extended the ability to see a doctor, the ability to go to the hospital when sick, the ability to get a prescription filled to 600,000 people. And Friday Action Hour is part of that. Friday Action Hour also lobbied Governor Cooper very hard to commute the sentences of 136 death row inmates to life in prison, which he did for 15 of them on his last day as governor of North Carolina. This is real stuff, y'all. This is stuff that was one way one day, and then the next day it was something different. Yes. But what else can we do? What else can we do? I was approached by two members of this congregation on Thursday at Feed NC who said, we need to be doing more. We need to be looking at other ways to serve in the community. We need to be touching more lives. And I said, well, that's the subject of Sunday's sermon. It made me so happy. It made me so happy. One of them even said to me, we don't know anything about the Ada Jenkins Center. I said, last night I had dinner with the development person for Ada Jenkins, and we're going to do an Ada Jenkins service down the road. She's going to come over here and talk. Now, I got to warn y'all, this woman can flat talk. Woo! She's one of those people who talks on the inhale and the exhale. But I'm gonna get her over here, and we're gonna let her talk, and I'm gonna have a red button that I can push, that like when she has to stop. But Ada Jenkins is a great institution here in Davidson. They work with after-school care. They work with homeless people. Now, for some reason, they started calling them unhoused people. I don't know why people have to mess with the language, but they don't call them homeless anymore. They call them unhoused. So when you hear that, you'll know what they're talking about. Also, 2 weeks from today, we are going to do a service about Hope of Mooresville. Hope of Mooresville is a two-house now. They have two houses where they house women and children who are in crisis of various kinds. Some of them are fleeing domestic violence. Some of them are dealing with a partner or a spouse who's a drug addict or an alcoholic. But it's a wonderful, wonderful institution that we're going to learn more about in 2 weeks. Amy Caron is coming, and she is Sue Friday's daughter. Yes! So we're going to see things in new ways. We're going to learn to look with fresh eyes at the communities where we live and at our own activity. What I really want to encourage you to do, and I know you're not going to talk to a stranger in line at the grocery store, but what I really want to encourage you to do is to become more politically active. Now, let me tell you what that might mean. It won't mean this for all of you, because a lot of you are going to stop listening as soon as I say become more politically active. I understand that. I understand that. He's not talking to me. It might mean joining Indivisible Charlotte. Indivisible Charlotte is an organization that was formed not only in Charlotte, but all over the country in response to what's-his-name's election in 2016. I did a sermon here one Sunday about how the fact that Unitarians don't believe in hell. And a woman walked out of the service and she said, I didn't believe in hell either until 2016. But Indivisible is an organization that was formed in response to the 2016 presidential election. All over the country, people got together and said, we've got to be more politically active. We've got to be doing whatever needs doing to show opposition to certain ideas, certain behaviors that were coming out of the White House. So I recommend Indivisible Charlotte. I recommend the League of Women Voters. And y'all know, haven't heard me say before, ACLU, Planned Parenthood, and the National Immigration Law Center. Amen? Amen. God, I love to preach. One of the things that some of you are going to do differently in the future that you haven't done in the past is use the telephone. The idea of picking up the telephone and calling a list that you got from whatever candidate you might be supporting, I know that idea is extremely off-putting to a lot of you. But let me tell you something. They ain't going to answer the phone. They're going to see you calling, and they're not going to recognize your number, and they're going to let it go to voicemail. And when it goes to voicemail, you will have a script from your candidate to use with voicemail. 9 times out of 10, probably 99 times out of 100, they are not going to answer their telephone. So the next time there's a campaign and you have certain proclivities, use your telephone. Jamie Bozian watches this thing online, And he did a good job last time, just not quite good enough. But he did it. He did it. He got on the telephone and he knocked on doors. He knocked on doors. Now, I know there's some of y'all wouldn't any more knock on a door than you would walk butt naked down Main Street. I understand that. I understand that. But let me tell you, I've done it and done it and done it, and it's not so bad.
Which one?
It's not so bad. So far, Veronique. So far, Veronique, I have not walked butt naked down Main Street.
We were worried.
Yeah. My daddy used to love to get naked. My daddy down at Myrtle Beach one time got naked in front of one of those big plate glass windows in the motel, and the curtain was open. And Mama said, "Alan, you're standing in front of a mirror. I'm standing in front of a window, and the curtain's open, and you don't have any clothes on." He said, "Honey, if they haven't seen it before, they don't know what it is, and if they have, it won't hurt." You know a whole lot more about me now than you ever did before. Make new friends. This is political action. Make new friends. Be willing to knock on doors. Be willing to make phone calls. Be willing to join organizations that are politically active and make new friends. This will give you fresh eyes for looking at 2025 if you will make new friends. I'll tell you what to do before you leave here today. Talk to somebody you don't know. We have got a number of visitors in the house today. We've got a number of people who are here for the second, third, and fourth time, and most of y'all don't know them. And you will still not know them if you walk out of here today only talking to people you know. So talk to somebody you don't know. That way you will make new friends. Eddie. I knocked on doors down in Charleston County. I was working for Colleen Condon for county council. And I knocked on this man's door and he came out. And I happened to have this Jewish atheist with me. He was a delightful man. And the guy came out and he said, "Now tell me again who you're working for." I was working for Colleen Condon. She's running against an incumbent. We need to beat this incumbent because he's sort of a stick in the mud. And the man said, "Well, I'm going to have to pray about it." And I said, "Well, let's just pray right now." And we bowed our heads. We started praying. We prayed. We prayed. We prayed some more. When I finally got around to saying amen, that man said, "I think I can vote for Colleen Condon. I believe I'm going to do that. I'm going to vote for Colleen Condon." When we got back to headquarters, my Jewish atheist buddy said, "You ain't going to believe what happened to me." Go with me one more time to that grocery store. See all those carts lined up in front of you. Big crowd, only 2 or 3 cash registers open. You know you're stuck there. You turn around, you look at Jim Arnold behind you. He seems like a nice enough guy. You make eye contact, you smile, he smiles back. He enjoys the eye contact. And you say, "Can I talk to you for just a minute about a group of people I gather with on Sunday afternoon?" Come on, Greg, we got to have talk back here.
I think we need more.
Tim's ready. Tim's ready.
More of that. This reflection part, this is where we get to voice our thoughts about what Pat just delivered to us. And let's hear it. Come on, Tim.
Tim, don't say anything about getting naked.
No. Since I saw Obama's speech that first speech back at the Democratic National Convention when he was, I think, the junior senator at that time.
He was a state senator.
When he gave the speech, he was a state senator?
04.
Anyway, when he ran for president.
Yeah.
Since then, I've been on the phone every election, calling thousands of people. By and large, the lists are pro our side. Progressive. They don't give us people to be harassing them, harassing us. If you do, you just say, no, thank you, and you hang up on them. All I want to say is, I want to put myself out there. If you want to make phone calls but are afraid, next election, we'll get together and we'll make calls and we'll deal with people. There's a lot of very thankful people that were calling,
Yes.
and there aren't too many nasty people. They don't want you persuading. They're typically just encouraging you. Who are you voting for? Get out to vote. It's a positive message. It's not that hard.
Thank you. Wonderful. And thank you for being on the phone.
I'm going to add here that I think that with the incoming administration, we're called upon to become more active. It's either become more active, raise your voice, talk to people, or, well, there's a lot of people who are getting their passports together and moving, but I don't think that that's really a solution because it affects the whole world. We have to take a stance. We are called upon as citizens in a democracy to stand up and fight for our democracy. It's the only way democracy lives. So,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Come on, Mary. And then
Just
we'll
a
hear
word
from-
about, my name's Mary. Just a word about spreading the word, and I'm probably not gonna be one of those people named Ursula.
Even if it's a Jim Arnold?
Well, maybe. But my husband and I, along with 8 other couples, started Unity, the second Unity Church here in Charlotte. And in doing so, there was a group, we were younger, and we did things together as a group, not the whole group, but groups of it. And I can remember easily 6 people that we ran across when we were either volunteering, like y'all do it in CFeed and so forth, in other areas, even some social situations, where we got the comment, you guys have a club? No, we're just all in the same church. And I can think of 6 people now that over a period of time actually came, I keep cards, and enjoyed. So I think we have to, talk the talk, walk the walk, or path or something.
Yeah.
Just an idea.
Yeah, walk the walk as well as talking the talk, yeah. At the UU in Greenville, Marshall Wynn was president of the congregation, and he was in a grocery store buying several cases of beer. And he had a hand truck, and a gentleman behind him said, "Where are you taking all that beer?" He said, "I'm taking it to church." And the man said, "I want to join your church." To your point, Mary. To your point. Anybody else? This is the president of the Iredell County Women Democrats.
Oh, thank you. I don't live in Iredell. You should consider it. The taxes are lower and the services are negligible. I am not the bravest soul in the world, but I've done a bunch of door knocking, and you can be exceedingly helpful in that whole process without going near a single door. Somebody's got to drive the getaway car. Somebody's got to follow the map, whether it's the one on your iPhone, which they give you, or if you're desperate, a paper map. You do not have to be brave to do this stuff. You can go up to a door and choose. You can leave leave the car running and go up from the driveway. It's easier than it seems until you've knocked on the first door. And then, lots of people have died, moved away, or are not at home. That cuts the actual contact down to a manageable level.
Yes. Absolutely.
Well, I would never say such a thing to anybody in line in the grocery store or in line anywhere, because that reminds me of tactics of another religion, which I do not agree with. So even if it was Jim standing behind me, I would not say, "Let me tell you the good news about Unitarianism." That ain't the way it goes. But what I wanted to suggest is that there are a lot of ways of being politically active. It's not just knocking on doors during elections. That's very important, calling people. But I see it as finding the things that are going on in your community and the groups that are addressing those things that you feel are important to protect, are important to help, and get involved. Pat mentioned that a lot of you don't know much about the Ada Jenkins Center. This congregation began by meeting at the Ada Jenkins Center. And they have added many wonderful programs over the years. Find your passion and make it happen, as the old movie said. Mine has always been the environment. I have served on more boards. I'm one of the founding members of the Catawba Lands Conservancy and the Davidson Lands Conservancy. I served 6 years in Park and Rec, and I may go back and do that again. Why Park and Rec? They control a lot of land, and they make a lot of decisions about what's going to happen to that land. And if the voices of people like me and like many of you who care about what's happening in this environment had not always been there speaking up, we have nothing but sandy fields everywhere. We have no open space. So find what it is that's important to you. And Sandy's right, somebody's got to drive that getaway car when the election comes around, while Tim's on the phone and Tracy's getting postcards out. But it's important to get involved. And through that, we can, as members suggested to Pat, we can touch more lives and more things that are important around us.
Thank you, Nick. Anybody else? All right.
Well, Claudia's coming up. I just wanted to say that on Lynn's point, finding something that you care about. Because I think that coming up, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be resistance to their going away. We're going to have to say some things. ACLU, Planned Parenthood,
Sesame Street.
there are going to be a lot of things
They're attacking the mothers.
that they are going to try to get rid of. And it's going to be the people that are going to keep those things. They're going to keep them from taking them away.
And right, just before Claudia speaks, let me say, one of the things that the UUA has done in Boston, the Unitarian Universalist Association, of which we are members, of which we are financial supporters, they opened their basement for immigrants who were fleeing ICE, who were fighting deportation. The basement of the building in Boston is used as temporary housing for people who are avoiding deportation.
So sanctuary, right?
Sanctuary, yes.
Sanctuary.
Thank you. Okay, Claudia.
I talk to everybody. I talk to everybody in the grocery store, on the elevator. It's just who I am. I just talk to everybody, and I'm interested in hearing their story or what they have to say. I advise you not to do it when your children are with you. They get terribly embarrassed. But the most powerful thing that I say to anybody is I disagree. And I live in Lincoln County, which is extremely conservative, and people are not used to having you say, I don't agree with that, or that's not the way I believe. And it's, I find that a lot of people will listen, not all of them. A lot of them are going to say, well, that's good enough for my daddy, it's good enough for me. But there are people that say, why do you disagree? And I just, it gives me an opening to tell my story, to tell what I think. And usually, the people I'm talking to, I mean, on our fence bill, so many of the people we're talking to are really poor people. really poor people that don't have jobs, that are just making it from one paycheck to another. And they have Trump signs in their yard. And any kind of an opening to talk to them, whether it's about their dog or their children, is a, just more than they've ever heard before. Just that little bit. I'm certainly not gonna suggest they come to UU service because I don't think we could handle that. But, just enough of my personal story.
Nice.
Thank you, Claudia. Anybody else? Sue, come on. Come on, Sue. Come on.
I did not know my daughter was coming. You're great communicators. On Pat's, after the election, he suggested we contribute to 3 organizations. So I got my ACL card in the mail this week. So I followed through, and I just think you all should see what one looks like.
Let me tell you all something else that's happening in 2 weeks. And I don't want to upset anybody, but 400 Christians are gathering at RS Central High School in Rutherford. And before I come over here to host Amy, Sue's daughter, I'm going to be speaking to those 400 Christians. So light a candle. Play us some music, please.
Yes, indeed. This fellowship is important to us all. The contributions we make allow us to sustain and grow our congregation and to reach out to our community, both near and far. Your giving affirms our commitment to each other and to the community. And may I urge the viewers at home to switch briefly to the main page on our website and hit the donate button to join with our in-person members. With grateful hearts, we receive these gifts. May they encourage us to live lives of integrity, compassion, and peace. We are also grateful to all the people who make possible our Sunday services, all our various community activists, and presenting us with an outside worldview newsletter and YouTube. And that includes everyone who cheers us on by being in these chairs today and or in your living room chairs comfortably at home. Please note the announcements in the service, in the order of service.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's see. Special supper after the service. We are.
I don't know, where do y'all wanna go?
Crafty burger.
I hear Crafty Burger.
Fusion Bowl?
Let's do Crafty Burger right here, over the bridge in Cornelius.
Everybody's familiar? Crafty Burger. It's one of those things we all get together. For those of you who don't know, I think most people do know, but great get together after the service. Ooh. Sharing a meal together, always a good thing. Crafty Burger, okay. Tuesday movie at Burkdale.
Mufasa.
Who?
Mufasa.
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 Lion King.
Lion King, okay. Same time, 12:25?
Well, whatever it says here.
11:50.
11:55. And let's see, Heart of Carolina's Animal Ministry next Saturday, the 18th. And, I know we get a lot of people who have shown up for that. For those of you who haven't, boy, I'll tell you, it's a great time. Doing something with your hands, getting in the dirt, building fences. This next Saturday, 4 dogs, is that right? 4 dogs. 4 dogs will come off of chains and have room to run around for the first time in their life, most likely. Building fences, or, of course, fences make good neighbors, but enclosures for dogs to get them off of a chain, that's a fabulous thing. Let's see, what else we have on here?
Ed Boyd's open house is Wednesday afternoon at 3 o'clock at the Pines. He's going to be launching his book.
Ed Boyd's.
Ed Boyd, Is This the Jesus You're Looking For? His
Jesus
book about the
You're Looking
Unitarian Jesus.
It's a great book.
At the Pines, yes.
North Carolina Adopt a Highway Pickup Litter, or Litter Pickup, Concord Road, Saturday the 18th, also at 9:30 in the morning. So got a couple of things. You can go out in Lincoln, build a fence, or you can come over here, pick up trash along. Either way, you'll be doing something. Get you out there. Great way to start the day. Thursday the 9th, with Jim Arnold. Oh, that will be for Feed and Seed.
We have the wrong date here, don't we? I think the 9th is not a Thursday.
Ninth was last
February
Thursday.
9th? This is for February 9th?
I think that was a carryover
Is that a
from last week.
carryover? Well,
Wait, is it the
It's in
second
February.
Thursday or when is it?
Second Thursday of the month.
Would be the 13th.
the 13th, okay. And next Sunday, the 19th, remember Loretta Fodry? Did I pronounce that right? Fodry.
Yeah.
We'll talk about finding her way to US.
To us.
Finding her way to us. Reminds me of AI. You get these AI things that, very common things that they miss, and it's just, I'm not AI though. I just miss it, sorry. And so, how about we have our closing song? Number 121 in the books.
Two verses. Two verses. See, our closing words come again from Simon Sinek. The goal is to sell to people who believe what you believe. I guess we might paraphrase that into the goal is to gather with and do good work with the people who believe what we believe. You'll hear a little more from Simon in the weeks to come.
Simon says.
We close our service by extinguishing the light in the chalice and saying together the words in our order of service. We extinguish the chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again.